60 to 70 of lift costs, because and this occur after the lift has been installed. But these components are not considered at the beginning of the project. It's a major problem. And that is where the role of quantity surveyors come in. As I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, I'm a quantity surveyor. And this week, when we talk about what role does quantity surveyor play when it comes to ensuring effective cost management of vertical transportation systems in building. Now, quantity surveyors, I would say, are uniquely positioned to one. We have talked about life cycle costing requirement. Quantity surveyors integrate this at the beginning of the project when tender is being prepared. Then, at the pre-contract also, the such dimension and number of leads will also be considered. Then, avoid vendor locking through open specifications. Vendors will want to play pranks on the developer by making sure that they enter into agreement that make them to be the sole facility manager when the lift break down, and then making sure that it complies with the regulatory framework within this lifespan of the lift. Then this demand, Consope will always demand transparent, itemized maintenance pricing instead of lump sum. Then forecast compliance and modernization cost. Over volatility in Forex will be taken into consideration in making this projection, so that when there are variations, there will be basis for changes in the projected at the beginning of the project and the reality at the end or during the maintenance period. Now, the role of the QS serves as a bridge between the global safety standard and the financial reality that we have at hand in Nigeria. During the procurement, consultants also play a significant role, because at the beginning of the project also, if you talk about life cycle cost comparison of compliant lift options, it's not limited to only one a lift component or proprietary brand. There will be comparison of life cycle to ensure that what are we spending at what point. Then avoiding proprietary locking, structuring performance-based maintenance contract, aligning warranties with compliance cycles, cost transparency in escalation clauses, availability in Nigeria. And the impact of this is we have predictable costs, reduced dispute, and better asset performance. This example of what will come to play. At the initial capital cost, the breakdown, of course, will be carried out by quantity surveyor. For this particular building, like a commercial building, has 4 number lift, and the quote from the vendor is 89 million for 356 million. So at the end of the day, the capital cost of 4 lifts in the building will be about 422 million. It does not end here. We go to annual operation and maintenance cost. You look at this, make comparison with other vendors, and come up with what is most reasonable. On this one, we have about 12.4 million as operation cost. Then mid-modernization year, 116 million for the. So at the end of the day, the life cycle cost summary will be about 844 billion. And you know what this one translates to, a number in the building. So early cares engagement will ensure that all this value are competitively determined through analysis of available, alternative proposed by vendor. So it will optimize lift sizing, specify not proprietary. So all this can to about 15 to 30% reduction in the life cycle cost. In the beginning, the life cycle has been put to the fore to ensure that we're not only living in our own in our dream, thinking that only the initial cost will be the total cost of lift installation in building. So that is, the value of engaging quantity surveyors. Then to ensure also effective cost management at post-contract stage, when the project is being executed, valuation of duration, forecasting compliance-driven expenditure, which expenditure related to compliance, then evaluating repair versus modernization, managing claims linked to Forex volatility, design changes, regulatory upgrade. But if these ones are not predetermined at the initial stage of the project, it will be difficult to manage. Then at the end of the day, advising on replacement timing. So many cost overrun blame on regulation are actually contract management failures, which can be corrected or put in place when the cost consultant is engaged. Now, from this presentation, the real takeaway again and run through, lead compliance must be cost managed, not just enforced, based on the presentation I made. And it is important for us to be guided with life cycle costing instead of initial cost of the project. Then, quantity surveys are critical to integrating cost, risk, and regulation. Now, the shaft sizing and lift numbers drive major costs. Imagine when a lift is omitted or unnecessary lift is added, what the cost will translate to. So this early engagement of QS will result into long-term saving. So it is recommended that, there is need to engage quantity surveyors early in lift system planning. They mandate life cycle cost analysis for vertical transportation system that integrate compliance costs into capital budgeting. Strengthen QS, engineer, defenders, and facility management collaboration to ensure that at the end of the day, the client knows what the vertical transportation system costs holistically, not just thinking of initial installation cost. This is the end of my presentation. I say thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you so much, Prof. That was very enlightening. All right, team. Thank you so much for appreciating Prof. So,
presentation was within time.
Yes, you kept the time, sir. Thank you so much. I will also, is our video ready, or should we proceed to our second speaker? Team. I also like you to stop sharing, Prof.
Okay. It's all right, sir.
All right, so let me introduce our second speaker. He's an engineer Dr. Isaiah O. He's going to be talking about navigating regulatory compliance for vertical transportation. And I'm going to give you a brief profile of Engineer Dr. Isaiah O is a current certified civil engineer with over 24 years of post-NYSC professional experience, spanning the full project life cycle from conceptual to execution and completion of multi-billion naira infrastructure projects. His expertise covers major civil engineering works, including bridges, highways, drainage systems, culverts, road construction, involving both flexible and rigid pavements. He possesses extensive experience in structural works across diverse soil conditions, including swampy, muddy, and soil terrains. He earned his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Ambrose Ali University in 2001 and later obtained a Doctor of Philosophy as a PhD in Leadership and Organizational Management from the Institute of Leadership, Manpower Management Development, Leighton, London. Engineer Dr. Ogo began his professional career with Setraco Nigeria Limited in 2006, a leading construction firm responsible for the East-West Road project spanning Warri to Eleme in Rivers State. In 2009, he was deployed to the Ode Sekiri 23 Bridges, Roads and Spurs project, where he successfully supervised and completed 7 bridges road to the Warri River. In 2001, he was appointed the CEO and Managing Director of Commerce Engineering Company Limited, where he has continued to provide strategic leadership and technical oversight. Professionally, Engineer Dr. Isaiah has rendered distinguished service to both the Nigerian Society of Engineers and the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers in various leadership capacities. He served as Secretary of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Warri Chapter, from 2012 to 2016, and later as Chairman from 2016 to 2018. Within the NSE, he served as Treasurer of the Ughelli branch, Vice Chairman from 2009 to 2021, and Chairman from 2021 to 2023. He also chaired the Prevention, Investigation, and Failure Analysis Committee of the NSCE Warri branch between 2016 and 2018. Additionally, he was a member of the 2025 NSE Bylaw Review Committee, and he currently serves on the Debt Recovery Committee of the Federal Ministry of Works. Engineer Dr. Owo is a recipient of numerous distinguished and meritorious service awards, including Meritorious Service Award, College of Education, Osiele Abeokuta, Distinguished Service Award, Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Warri Chapter, Award of Excellence, Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, Meritorious Service Award, NSC Student Fulpray Chapter, Award of Excellence, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Sapele Branch, Award of Excellence, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Ughelli Branch. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a fellow of the Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, a fellow of the Institute of Management Consultants, and a fellow of the Institute of Leadership, Manpower Management Development. Dr. Isaiah is also a certified management consultant. Please join me in welcoming Engineer Dr. Isaiah Owo. Hello, Doctor. You're welcome, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much. I want to share my slides. It's my pleasure to be here as I want to contribute from my wealth of experience on this webinar. Permit me a brief moment to share my slides.
Please go ahead.
There are some challenges. Don't know if you can help to check from there, please.
Please, can someone assist him? All right, it's visible.
Okay, good. So it's all about vertical transportations, talking about movements between other movements that transmit between the ways, stairs, or sometimes between in between structures, floors of structures. Hey there. Can't see the slide right now. Okay, so now I want to talk about the thing we are discussing is going to enable us to see the importance of compliance when it comes to regulations in the vertical transport. So let me get the second.
Slide 2, please.
Okay, this slide 2 talks about the highlights, which is a summary of this topic that has to do with the mode of transportation, the importance of regulations on escalators and elevators. Now, in Nigeria, today we talk about vertical transportations. Usually, it's movement, mobility between superstructures. But now we'll talk about failures in compliance that can result in injury, litigations. If there's no compliance, we'll now find reputation damage and also regulatory sanctions. Now, the objectives of these. Please, can you maintain that slide, please? Okay. Please, can you just follow my lead in sharing the slide, please? When I tell you to move, that's when you move, please. So at this point, you can take it to the summary page, please. Okay. So you leave it here until I ask you to go to the next slide. Then you go to the next slide. Thank you very much. So this paper we discuss the importance of regulatory landscape governing vertical vacuum compliance requirements across the asset life cycles and presents best practical strategies for achieving continuous compliance while reducing operational risk. So what this summary is telling us is just that compliance will help us to avoid other issues like litigations, help us to avoid risk to human lives, and also ensure that there's safe operations when we comply with regulations. Please, can I get the next slide, please? The next slide. The introduction slide, please. Can I get the next slide? The introduction slide. Okay.
Sorry to call us.
Okay. Today, as development increases, especially in big cities like Lagos and other urban areas, we find out that there's need for superstructures and high-rise structures. And you agree with me that without such the vertical transportation, the ease of movement wouldn't be there. You can imagine somebody building a high-rise structure of 4 or 5 floors and not having vertical transportation. So, and in the course of doing that, this need for safety compliance is very, very important. So that's why regulatory compliance are keys. So these are introduced. So in the course of this paper, we are going to see how decision makers we be able to provide structural approach to navigating regulatory compliance and embedded safety and governance into vertical transportation system. Let's look at the various regulatory landscape. We are going to look at the international standards, then eventually we'll come to local standard. We also have regulators that within the local environment. Now, please, the next slide. For the international standard, we have the ISO 8100. The ISO 8100 is a global elevator and escalators safety framework. This is generally acceptable standards universally. Every country in the world adopt this standard. But for the European nation, they have their own standard in 81 series. This standard is for this, it helps to guide their designs, installations, and also testing. Then for North Americans, they also have their standards. ASME A17.1 stroke CS C5A B44. This is the North American safety code for elevators and escalators. Please, can you go forward with your slides? I'll move now to regulatory landscape. So in the general perspective, we have the standards for electrical installations and safety requirements, like the IEC 60364. This one is to ensure that in the aspect of the electrical and also the safety aspects of structures, that these the ones in the course of design and also installations, these are also standards that must be adhered to. So these standards define minimum safety thresholds for design, construction, installations, testing, and maintenance. So can you move your slides? We are national and local authorities. So not like we have these international standards as guides to vertical transportation in the course of design, in the course of the life cycle of the escalators or elevators. Then we also have those that ensure compliance within the local landscape. Now we have the building control agencies. For example, in Lagos, we have the Lagos State Safety Commissions. They help to ensure that. Then we also have the fire integration and evacuation. We also have building occupation health and safety regulators. Now, on this, we have the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, ISPON, and other industrial associations like the Lifting Equipment Inspection of Nigerians. They all play roles in these to ensure regulations of vertical transportation in Nigeria. So we also have the national standard organization like the SON. The SON is the father of all. In Nigeria, sorry to say that at this point in time, we have not really have our own standard, our own building code, the design codes for vertical transportation. But we hope that with time, that we'll be able to get that in place. Just like we have in Europe, North America, and every other countries, we'll be able to see that we have our own design code. Most probably, we could be able to, we should be able to build those in this built environment, be able to come together and ensure we have a design for a code for vertical transportation in Nigeria. Now we want to look at the compliance along the asset life cycles. Now I want to talk about the first stage, which is the design and planning phase. What do we need to do when it comes to the design and planning phase? Now we'll talk about the design and planning phase. We need to look at the loads. Today you'll find out that we have, let's talk about elevators, for example. When we come to building, we see that maximum of 4, the maximum of 8 persons. So these are at the conception time before design. These are considered. So you look at the loading calculations, and also you do your traffic analysis. Oh, okay, what am I designing? I'm designing for 4, I'm designing for 5, or designing for 10. So the maximum load. So this is considered at the phase of design. The fire safety integrations and evacuation strategies also consider. You also ensure that the compartment is fire resistant and also flame proof, at least within the shorter duration of 60 to 21 minutes, as is enshrined in the code in 81/58 in case of fire outbreak, so that the compartments will be able to resist fire within that time, between 60 to 120 minutes, while you are in the lift and there's fire outbreak in the building. So you'll be safe within that time, and it's expected that within that 120 minutes, there should be an effort to get you out of it. There's accessibility provisions for persons with disability. Yes, can you hear me?
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Am I on the right slide?
Yes, design and planning. This is fine for me. This is fine.
All right, sir.
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
So thank you very much. So the accessibility provisions for persons with disability. Well, in the course of design, this is considered to see that it is cited where it is easily accessed by a person with disability. Structural shaft design, pit depth is considered, the headroom, all of that is considered, and overhead clearance, so that everybody that is inside the lift, the elevator will be comfortable. The machine room ventilation and equipment layout, all these are considered, and most importantly, regulatory approval for technical drawings and specifications is very important. Before installations, we want to ensure that after the designs, then the drawings and everything, you place it before the authorities for approval. Please, can I get the next slide? Now we'll come to the installation phase. After the design phase, conception phase, and design phase, you come to the installation phase. So at this installation phase, you considered one, licensed and certified contractors that must be considered for engagement. Then two, you must ensure that the materials and the components that will be utilized are the approved type. Must be ensured of that. Then two, electrical grounding, emergency power supply must be installed. Now, what do we talk about emergency power supply? Now, for example, when the power outage, you want to ensure that the user of the elevators is safe. So, and there is a backup battery that must be installed to sustain that lift. So sometimes some of the design is done in such a way that when there's power outage, the emergency power is in place within a short range and brings the person down, and the door is open and the person can evacuate. So all these must be put together, to be ensured in the course of design. Then fire-rated shaft enclosure must be constructed. Like I've said before, it must be fireproof within a short time, as is specified in the regulatory framework, like EN 81/258. The progressive inspections must be documented. Now, what are we talking about here is that it is expected that our escalators and elevators is inspected once in a year. And while that inspection takes place, it's expected that it must be documented. Whatever the observations must be documented. The essence of it is to ensure that the elevators and the escalators is still in good order, working order, and is in a safe order for its users. Please, the next slide. Now we'll come to the aspect of testing and commissioning. So after the phase of design and the installations, before the utilization, you must come to the aspect, you must carry out some tests. And also, it must be commissioned before use. And what are the things, factors that you put in place when you carry out this the load and performance testing? For example, if it is designed for 4, it should be tested. It is tested to find out that if it can actually carry 4 conveniently, then ensure that the performance the performance is at optimum. The speed and braking verifications is considered. The emergency stop and door safety test is also carried out. Alarm and communication system validations, fire recall and emergency operations simulations are all considered. The most importantly is that commissioning certificates issued by authorized inspectors must be obtained. So please, next slide. So now we come to this very important aspect that sometimes is easily neglected, which is the aspect of operational maintenance. Or at the cost of operations, there should be maintenance. It goes together. But most time, this aspect is violated. Post-handover compliance include 1, preventive maintenance programs must be put in place to see that, like I've said, that there have to be 1-year routine maintenance on the equipment. The statutory periodic inspections, maintenance log documentations, whatever maintenance that is carried out must be documented so that the subsisting maintenance, these documents have to be reviewed. Then incident reporting and corrective actions tracking. Well, in the course of use for the past 1 year before the routine maintenance, whatever incidents that occurred in the course of its usage, it has to be carried out in the course of operation by the operators. So it also be documented for review. So it helps to be able to ensure the safety use of the equipment. And continuous safety audits is very important. And these continuous safety audits has to do with safety compliance, its usage. They expected that in some of these elevators, even the escalators, while using them, they expected that you guide yourself by the raise and all that. So all these are safety measures that must be ensured. So please, next slide. Documentations and governance. It is essential that regulatory approvals and permits are obtained. Installation certificates are also obtained. Test and commissioning reports are obtained. Maintenance contracts and service log. Let me emphasize on this. Maintenance contracts, we have industries that are responsible, certified industries that are very reliable, that should be engaged for maintenance. Even while you use it for 1 year and there's no incident, there is need for routine maintenance for 1 year, and that will ensure that the equipment live its lifespan. Incidents and repair records, like we have said before, whatever incidents that occurred have to be documented. Whatever maintenance that took place have to be documented. These documents form the core of legal compliance and risk. What do we mean by that is, when there are legal issues, these are documents you fall back on for defense. So it helps to contain litigations, so avert risk. So we'll go to the next slide, please. Risk management and liability control. Organizations should implement management system, like we have said. 1, compliance to regulatory framework, like we have said, that the regulators, we want to ensure that we comply to the rules of engagement, and also periodic internal audits by routine check, routine overall assessment of the equipment, regulatory update monitoring, equipment modernization planning. For example, you've been using an elevator or escalator for some years now, and we have modern ones, and there's need You know, when it has outlived its life cycles, there's need for a modern one to be obtained and put and installed for the safety use of every of its users. And also operators and facility staff training programs, very key. So those that are in charge of the management, these ones need to be trained, one on safety aspect, two on operations. So proactive governance dramatically reduces operational risk. So when we do all this, then we'll be able to avert operational risk. Please, the next slide. Now, what are the benefits of compliance? One, it improves occupant safety. That's key. Increase asset value. Now, if we do not have incidents in the infrastructure, we'll find out that people will have confidence. For example, an hotel. Now you don't have incidents. People have confidence in coming. And also when there's an optimal operations of the elevator or the escalators, clients will have confidence in such properties, and what will happen, the value of the properties will increase and investment will have much confidence, like we have said. It will lower insurance premium. You don't need to spend so much on insurance, and also it will reduce litigation exposures. You don't have cases in the courts. Nobody will take you to the courts because everything is going very smooth, and also stronger corporate reputations. Your image in the corporate environment will be on top. Yeah, the next slide, please. Yes, so at this point, I want to conclude by saying that regulatory compliance is key in vertical transportations. These ones can never be overemphasized. It's not a one-time technical task. What does it mean? Is that just most time people ensure could have negative incidences, operational reliability, and long-term asset protections. So want to look at that last part of it. Now, you will find out that property, that the elevator or the escalators will find out that they'll be able to outlive their life cycles. One, because of regulatory compliance. So what we are always saying that regulatory compliance is key if we must have optimal use of our elevator and escalators. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Engineer. Tim, please appreciate him. That was very insightful as well. All right. And apologies for the network downtown there. I'm going to be introducing our third speaker for today, Riaz Ahmed. And Mr. Riaz will be taking us on navigating regulatory compliance for vertical transportation. Again, I'm going to give a brief professional profile of Mr. Riaz Ahmed. So Mr. Riaz Ahmed is a highly accomplished international business expansion expert and global sales strategist with over 2 decades of leadership experience, driving large-scale sales growth, operational expansion, and market penetration across Africa, Asia, and the CIS region. He's renowned for building sustainable, high-performing business ecosystems and securing market leadership in competitive and complex environments. Riaz has successfully executed end-to-end expansion initiatives in over 20 countries, scaling both premium and value-based brands with consistent results. With deep expertise in market entry strategy, distributorship and channel development, B2B, B2C, and B2G sales models, also cross-cultural operations. He's emerging He specializes in transforming emerging and frontier markets into profitable, growth-driven business hubs. Mr. Ria's core competencies cut across international market expansion and localization, multi-country operations and regional leadership, B2B, B2C, and B2G sales strategies, distributor and channel network development, market entry roadmaps and go-to-market execution, high-value deal structuring and negotiation, government and institutional sales engagement, cross-cultural team leadership, strand alliance development, PLL ownership, scaling, and business turnarounds. Rias has global expansion, has led and also left global expansion footprints, successful market entry and operational growth across multiple regions. In the African region, we are looking at Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, amongst others. In the Asia region, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, India, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Indonesia, among other regions. The CIS region, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, among others. So across these markets, Mr. Rias has built and led cross-border teams. He has established robust distributor ecosystems and secured institutional and government contracts within diverse regulatory and commercial environments. So he has over 20 years of international leadership across 3 continents. He has successfully spearheaded operational setup and market expansion in more than 20 emerging markets, designing and executing market entry strategies that deliver sustained year-on-year revenue growth. He has also built and managed large-scale sales teams and regional partner networks across Africa and the CSI. Please, I would like you to mute your mics if so that you don't distract us. Thank you. So back to Mr. Ria's profile. He has led multi-million-dollar enterprise and government parallel, premium, and value brand strategies to achieve effective market segmentation and market leadership. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Riaz Ahmed. Mr. Riaz, you're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Siad. Welcome everyone, and thank you very much. Welcome everyone once again. So, Dr. Amuda Yusuf and Engineer Dr. Isa made my job easy. So most of my my presentation, I think 90% of my presentation, they already have, they have conveyed the information. But I would like to touch some important and interesting points. Why are we discussing this topic today? Is because if you see in the current scenarios, though I have been in the sales field, in the sales market, and also the expansion market, the demand of elevator has gone so much that once elevator was considered as a luxury, but these days it has been considered as an essential, so that every house, every homeowner, they need an elevator for many other reasons. So if you see vertical transportation is required, somebody, they need it because they want to have a luxury house. Somebody wants to have an elevator because they're not able to have an access to the first floor or the second floor of the, of the house they have lived. So what happened is, like, when the demand increases, so there are so many companies, they started coming into the market and they started developing their own product. And they started, selling this product into the various countries. Now, as per my experience, when I go to different countries, I understand each and every country, they have their own requirement, their own compliance or regulatory requirement that if you want to have an elevator company here, we need your product to be licensed and certified. So if it has to be licensed and certified, they have to comply with the regulatory of that particular country. So there are some countries which are still behind. They don't have any sort of regulatory so far. But now, I think most of the country, they started to imply the regulatory, or they started issuing a compliance of this. So when I want to talk about the compliance or regulatory, I'm going to talk about global, because as per my experience and what I have seen in the global market, they have different standards. There are American standards, there are European standards. So what are the different standards? I'm going to share in my screen in my future presentation. So I'm going to explain you the standards, and I'm going to quickly touch the point which I want to, just to give you more bright insight of that. And there are some points which is already explained. So I'm going to skip those points so that we don't repeat those same points. Okay. So I'm quickly sharing my screen. Yes. So here we are. So now what we are seeing here is the global regulatory landscape in vertical. So I'm going to skip the content because I'm not going to go in the order of content. So now major standard codes, when you go, we can go by region. Now globally, what is expected is ISO 8100 series, but this is not alone. This is not alone enough. So when you're selling an elevator or you're buying an elevator in Europe, so you must know that it has to be the EN 81, the European standard 81. It has to follow this standard. And the reason why it has to follow the standard is because, one, if a customer wants to install this lift and he wants to get the project or the approval of his project, he has to submit the EN 81 certification to the government authorities to approve his design for construction. At the same time, any company that they want to sell and install an elevator in Europe, they have to have this certification. So this is a mandatory document apart from the ISO 8100 series. So now you go to the American continent, they need to have an American standard, ASME or CSA. So these are the two standards that they need. So if you come to Middle East, most of the Middle East, they have EN, the European standard, and also they need a local civil defense. So in our previous presentation, we can see some of the authorities, the governing bodies. So if you go to Middle East, they have a local defense. So you need to submit your drawings, you need to submit your product design to them and get it approved to sell and buy this product. So if you come to Africa, now this is the interesting part. Now, if you go Nigeria, Ghana, and if you go to the West Africa, they have EN 81. And if you go to East Africa, they do have EN 81. And the major part of the Africa, they have the certification authority. But to ensure the compliances, to make sure that they are selling at this, they're selling the product at this standard, and customers are buying at this standard, it's not guaranteed. Same as in Asia. If you go to India, when you see the product, you may not see the certification. You may not see the license of the. You may not need the license as well to sell this product, but they still have the product in the market, and the customer still buy. The major drawback, apart from the government approval and all those things, is like, for example, when you buy an elevator or when you sell an elevator, the main thing is that it is a life device. It's a device which is risking life. So you have any incident or any casualties. So what happens is, like, there are some insurance company, you insure your property and you have an incident because of an elevator. Now you submit a claim, and this claim can be rejected if it is not complying the standards. At the same time, they can also, put a case on top of the incident, saying that, one, the property owner did not comply the standard, and the supplier, the guy who is issued, they installed the lift, did not comply. So this is one of the major things that we need to look. So anybody who sell any lift in the market of Africa, anybody who buy an elevator in the market of Africa, it is highly necessary that they buy a licensed one, so that any incident or anything that is apart from the approval and other things, they make sure that they don't be they don't be in a different situation, in a difficult situation that they have to face the legal issues. Yeah. So that is why the major standard codes and major standard regulatory of the compliances, it has to be followed. So this is something that we need to keep in our minds. The key takeaway of this presentation on the first slide is that we need to know what compliances that we are using in different countries, different region. So if you want to install an elevator in Africa and you're following the American standard, so it's not valid. Although they say it is an American standard, no, it's not acceptable. So now we go. So I think this part, Dr. Amuda Yusuf has clearly explained. So I'm just going to brush a little bit and move to the next topic. So who is the compliance? So one is the municipality authority. Number two, building code department. There is a department which is going to give an approval of projects. So that's that you can construct and you can have the lift installed. And then the civil defense and the fire authority, third party inspectors and certification bodies like SGS, TUV, and the third-party inspectors can be like a person who is coming from government authority or somebody who is assigned by a government to do the inspection and give the approval. So these are the governing bodies that controls the compliances. And what are the major part somebody who is buying or selling the lift has to make sure that one, it is manufactured as per the design which is in compliances with the standard of particular region. Number two, the installer has installed based on the requirement of the compliances. For example, the safety standards. It is having the mechanical brake and these ADS and other stuff. So they have to make sure that the installer is also having enough as well as certified to execute the installation. At the same time, the buyers make sure that it is in operation in compliance so that they don't have any legal issues that they come into in future. Yeah. So these are something that we need to look into. So I'm going to go to the next part. Okay. Now there are two top issues which I have already explained. So I'm going to go to the next slide again. Yeah. So how we ensure that there's a company or the product that I'm going to buy or I'm going to sell is certified. So we must have documents like type of tests and certifications that the product has. And number two, the confirmatory declaration like the CE certification or any other confirmatory declaration was there. Risk assessment report, installation drawing which has been approved, and testing and commissioning report, maintenance manual. This has to be there always when you buy an elevator or when you sell an elevator to a customer. The documents which a customer should maintain, you must have these documents at any point, so that it's not like an elevator that you buy an elevator is not similar to like buying a fan or a washing machine or a refrigerator. You know, it's a device which is risking life. So anytime, any situation that you need to come up, you need to be prepared and you need to have this kind of documents. Number two, the best practice is like you need to make every document digitalized, compile a folder and keep everything from where you're buying, whom you're buying, what you're buying, and what are the products that you buy and how it is being sold to you, what is the condition, what is the certifications. At the same time, what are you selling, whom you're selling, and all those documents has to be digitalized. And the version control drawings, all the approval drawings, you need to have it. And pre-submission audits. So now you need to make sure that your product is, on a regular servicing and up to this condition of fit condition that it is functioning properly. So these are the documentations that you need to keep as when you're buying a lift or when you're buying a lift. Yes. So I'm going to go to the next one. So different segment, different market. Now, as I told you, the requirement of lift, the demand of the lift has increased. So there are three sectors that we can look into. One is residential, the basic safety compliances. The residential is like they always look into budget, they always look into the money, and they don't follow the compliances. So and at the same time, the basic safety compliances, like they don't have a high demand or high requirement of complying that they need to have this. So they need to comply the basic safety compliances. So this makes the customer, to buy the elevator at a feasible price at the same time, because they don't have a major regulatory demands or requirement. So the seller also, make sure that he can sell within the compliances requirement, so that it becomes cost sensitivity and also a minimum code adherence. At the same time, when you're going into a commercial or high risk, so this is like, it's not a lift which is personal, private, it's a public. So in the first case, the residential, it's a private lift. You're not going to put public into come to access your home or something like that. So the second thing is completely private. I mean, it's public. So the advanced safety system is completely required. Evacuation lift is definitely required. The fire and other requirements are mandatory. So these are having a high demand or to comply the entire safety protocol of the regulatory compliances. Then go for the government and infra B2G. There should not be any deviations in what you are selling and what they're buying. So what you propose to a government, so they have a zero tolerance for any deviations and strict documentation, and you will have a long. These are the three sectors of business that you can look into this, and at the same time the compliances that we need to move forward for each and every sector. Yes. Now, I think that I'm going to go to the next one. So to make sure that you have a good sales strategy, any company which is selling, they need to have this kind of compliances apart from the product explanation and everything, to ensure that the customer is buying a safety product which is completely complying the regulatory of the lift requirements. So one is like inspection ready solutions. Number two, compliances guaranteed clauses, authority approved reference project, faster handover promise. So this is like a winning message, like we don't just sell lift, we deliver approved operational system. So it's not an elevator, it's delivered. We are delivering an approved operational system with all these four. We keep this as our USP, and we can sell this product since we have all these four. Now, again, as I told you the previous slide, that we need to digitalize everything, make sure that everything is there within the digital, so that it is available, so that we don't have any physical approved documents. Even if it is misplaced, we can pull the copy from the digital one. Now, the future trends in vertical transportation compliance, what's coming up now? Stronger safety upgrades, mandatory. So now, on a daily basis, these governing bodies, the regulatory bodies, they started increasing and imposing new regulatory standards. So they keep upgrading that we should have this, we should have that. Now we need to have the mechanical brakes. So those days they don't have to have a mechanical brakes. The moment they introduce the mechanical brakes, so they need to have the mechanical brakes. So a lot of things that they've been on a daily basis, they do an R&D, and they start introducing more and more safety standards. Energy efficiency, yes, the previous speaker, Engineer Dr. Isa and Mr. Amadou Yusuf has explained. So the lift has to be energy efficiency. Now, if you see most of our products, like it's consuming electricity like equal to an air condition, 1.5 ton air condition. So that means like you will never know there is an elevator running in a house. So it's the in previous cases, if you see the consumption of the elevator is so high. Now it is very economic, and the energy efficiency, they are very energy efficiency. Then the IoT based inspection report. So they have regulars, the regulatory body started having a regular inspection, random inspection, or a pre-booked inspection to the site, and ensure that the lift is in working condition, and they are complying in line with all the regulatory that they have to do, and they are on a fit condition to travel. They ensure that, and then they harmonize ISO standards and ESG sustainability compliances. So these are the things that we can expect in future, and we are still going to, these things are still developing, and they're starting, improving the standard on the compliance regulatory. Now, the framework, the compliance readiness framework starts from market specific, based on the requirement of the market. Then the certification of the supply chain installation team, inspection-ready documents, and these are the things that we discussed in phase. Now, the key takeaway: compliance is not negotiable. So, when you have any inspection or to your property, or when you supply this lift and you have an inspection on the consumer property, when the inspector come to the property, they do a compliance check, and there is something which is not matching or in line with the compliances, that is completely not negotiable. They don't tolerate those things, and they won't give until it is in line with what it is. And early planning saves time and cost. So this is again for buyer and seller. When a customer buy, he should make sure that he buy this as per the standard. So tomorrow when he buy, and then he found out that is not in line with what the government body that they need, or they follow a wrong standard. So that means like you're going to waste your time. At the same time, the money which you have invested in buying the previous lift. And having a lift in your house is not like you're going to replace your tube light, your fan, or your air condition. So once you install an elevator, to install another elevator is not going to be same. It's going to be a different task. So it's not easy. So at the same time, we're going for the next one, the regulatory differences strategy. As I told you before, you buy a lift in Africa and it is following the American standards. No, it's not in line with what you are. So you still have trouble over there. So compliance is equal to trust, access, and growth. So finally, the final closure of this presentation is like, when you buy a lift which is in line with compliances, so you can buy with trust, and you can make sure that it is accessible at any time, and it is serving your purpose. So that is all what we have to say, share, what I have to present today. And I would like to thank everyone once again to giving me this opportunity. Yes, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riaz. That was very insightful and educating as well. This team appreciate Mr. Riaz Ahmed. So I'm going to quickly introduce our next speaker, Mr. Laolu Oluwarinde, who is also going to touch on the topic of the relevance of lift in luxury real estate development. And this is his professional profile. Laolu Oluwarinde is a seasoned international real estate consultant and strategist with over 15 years of experience delivering high-impact advisory and leadership across the real estate business and consulting landscape. Renowned for his ability to drive growth and long-term value, he provides expert guidance to individuals, businesses, real estate companies, and large-scale projects, helping them navigate complex markets and unlock sustainable opportunities. He is the founder and lead consultant of Global Luxury Real Estate and Resources, a leading real estate consulting firm. Prior to this, Mr. Laolu held senior executive roles, including Chief Operating Officer and the Group Executive Manager, where he led premium real estate brands offering investments and partnership opportunities across multiple markets and sectors. His core competencies span strategic and marketing management, project and business planning, brand development, integrated marketing, negotiation, dispute management, coaching, and advertising. He has a proven track record of delivering measurable results through innovative, practical, and sustainable solutions tailored to EI, International Real Estate Federation. Beyond business, he serves as Vice President of Lagos Doyin Lions Club, that is the Lions Club International, actively supporting humanitarian initiatives. Laolu is deeply passionate about helping people harness opportunities, use exceptional results. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Laolu Oluwarinde. Thank you, Mr. Laolu, for joining us.
Everyone.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, you're very
Can you? Awesome. Um, it's nice to be here this calm evening, and it's been eye-opening and value-adding session so far. As I jokingly told the head of marketing of your Igbo organizer, I said, I'm not a technical person. I'm more of a business person. So to this evening, I'll be coming from the business, angle. Let me try to see if I can share my screen. If I can't, please, uh, technical team should help me do that. I don't know if I'm able to do that already. Can you see my screen?
Yes, but it is very tiny. Do you want me to share for you?
Please go ahead then, please.
Let's see. Please, is my screen visible?
Yeah, I can see that. All right. All right. Thank you. Just go to the next slide. Next slide. Faster. Yeah, move to the next slide. All right. Let's start from navigating regulatory. And a lot has been said about this vertical transportation. You know, one of the key things that we look at is the experience that clients, occupants get. They have in that particular see is that is a lift, and also probably the last thing you will see leaving that development. So between that time that you enter into that building and to the moment you want to leave, the lift transports you to wherever you're going and also brings you back, when you are leaving. That shows that the lift is actually very important in any development. And for those of us that works in organizations that are high rises, know how important a lift is. I remember a particular experience I had in a particular building that I took. I was in the lift and I think the power went off, and I think there were about two or three of us in that. The power went off.